Momentum is always building in life. It's either building in the direction that you want or it's building in the direction that you don't want. But there's no even ground, so to speak. There's no neutrality in the habits of your life and the quality of your life. There's no stagnation, so to speak, right? There's no still water. It's whatever it is that you're doing in life, in your habits, in your career, health, whatever. It's either stacking in a positive direction or it's stacking in a negative direction. You don't just sit in the middle somewhere, because if you think that you're sitting in the middle, if you think that you are not making progress one way or the other, or you're not making not that you're not making progress, but if you think that you're not actively doing something and building it, that you're maintaining it without touching it every day, then you're going in the opposite direction, right? Like, if you work out on a regular basis and then you stop working out once you get to the physique that you want and you stop tracking your nutrition, then regardless of how fit you once were or how fit you are in that moment, if you stop working out, it doesn't just stay there. You don't just keep your physique, you don't keep your muscle. You will lose your muscle, you will gain fat, because there's no neutral ground. There's no stopping point. Things require constant growth, and if they're not growing, then they're slowly withering away. And that applies to skills as well, right? If you have a skill set, if you have a skill that you've built, if you're good at something and you do it every day or you do it on a regular basis, you can't stop doing it and expect to be just as good in a couple weeks. So if you stop doing something, you're not at a neutral point. You're not at, flat ground. You're not at a place where you're even and you're sitting at kind of a rest stop, so to speak, and you're not, that you're not losing the skill. You're definitely losing the skill. You're losing something, and that's no more obvious or clear with than if you don't use a muscle for 2 weeks, it atrophies. I think if somebody doesn't walk for 2 weeks and they're laying in bed or on a couch or they're on bed rest, I think it's about 2 weeks that they have to walk again. They have to learn how to walk again, which is crazy to think about, because you could walk your entire life every day, never have any issues with your legs, thankfully. But if for whatever reason you're on bed rest for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, when you've used your legs every single day to walk around, you go on bed rest for 2 weeks and you have to learn how to walk again. Simple as that, which is kind of nuts because you use your legs every day. So there's no such thing as a lack of momentum in life. Momentum is always building. It's just whether it's building in the right direction or the wrong direction. Is it building in the direction that you want, or is it building in the direction that you don't want, right? Everything is constantly stacking. It'll either stack for you or against you. It's up to you to choose which way it's going to stack. So this kind of goes back to consistency. When you want to get better at something, you have to pick what you want to do and you have to keep doing it. And even if you get to a point where you want to be, if you stop doing it, you're going to lose it. And if you've played sports, you'll understand this more than anything else, where you could play basketball your whole life, and depending on how much you play and how intense you were with your practice and your training, you could go a certain amount of time without doing it. But once you get back on the court, it'll still feel weird. It'll still take a minute to get your bearings. And the longer you go without playing basketball or dribbling a ball or shooting a ball, the longer it's going to take for you, the more it takes for you to get back into the groove and the rhythm. And obviously, if you take a pro athlete, they could probably not do it for quite some time and still be good months later. But if you take someone who's an amateur who just enjoys playing and they don't play for a month, it's going to take them probably a couple weeks to get back to wherever they were. So you got to pick something that you want to build, and then you have to build it every day, or at least build it on a regular basis. Because if you stop building it, it doesn't just stay where you left it. That skill doesn't just stay at that level and wait for you to come back to it. It just starts slowly going down. and it goes slow at first, and then it goes quickly. And in your head, you think, well, I was able to do all this before, I could do it again. But the fact of the matter is, you definitely can't. You'll, depending on how long you've been away from it, you'll have to come back around and work that much harder to get back to where you were, and then to build on top of that. So I think this is an important, very important lesson that I've learned, that life is always stacking in one direction or another. Everything you're doing is stacking in one direction or another. And you're either stacking it the way that you want, or you're losing it bit by bit. So whatever it is that you're doing, ensure that you keep doing it, that you don't stop doing it. You don't give yourself a pause or a break, or, think that you could sit around and not lose the skill. So keep that in mind always. Momentum is always building, right? Momentum is always building. It doesn't just build in the direction that you want. It builds in the direction that you don't want if you're ignoring what you need to do, or not getting your work done, or not paying attention to the skill or the project or the work or whatever it is. And it's very important to keep developing it daily, keep building the skill, and understanding that if you're not building it, it's withering away. And that applies to all things. Some more so than others. Some places it's more obvious than others. But if you want to get good at something, and if you want it to be a part of your life, the whole no days off thing is probably the easiest way to say this. You can't take any days off. You have to keep at it every single day. You have to keep at it on a regular basis. And the consistency takes a while to show up in terms of results. But once it does show up, it should be motivation to keep going. Because if you decide to stop, even for a little bit, you're not staying where you left off. You're losing the skill that you developed. So stack the momentum and stack the skill every single day in the direction that you want. And it is an everyday battle forever, because if you let it go even slightly, you're going to end up in a position that you're going to end up losing the skill. You're going to end up losing the work, and you're going to have to work harder to get back to where you were.